Welcome to Retire Coast, where we discuss all things retirement, life on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and your financial welfare. Bill Anderson, your host, is a serial entrepreneur having created many successful businesses and holds a real estate broker's license, speaks about personal experiences with each topic. Listen, learn, and improve the quality of your life.
Well, thanks once again for coming to visit RetireCoast.com's podcast. I hope that you go to our website, simple, RetireCoast.com. Check out some of our blog articles, read all the blog articles, sign up to receive notification of new articles. Today we're going to talk about what you do when you, quote, retire. Basically, I like to say that that's just a change in your circumstances, a lifestyle change. Essentially, you're not going to be driving on the interstate or freeway from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning, doing the work thing and then taking that 2-hour commute on the way back. That's gone. You have set that aside, you had your party, and now you come home and say, wow, what do I do with the rest of my life? Well, if you've already considered what to do in terms of your financial situation, you've already worked all that out. If you haven't, you need to read a lot of our articles on our website about retirement and what to do. But a lot of things that haven't been worked out are, for example, what to do, as I mentioned. You may think that you're going to go sit on the beach and sip umbrella drinks, and that is just not going to happen for the vast majority of people. And that's if you are physically capable of doing that. You know, when you get older, all kinds of things happen, aches and pains, things like that. But you basically have to keep your mind busy. And for many of you that have worked your entire life, it's time to relax. But relaxing doesn't mean doing nothing. So here's my suggestion, and the point of this particular podcast is to talk about things you can do when you're retired, and you can actually make some extra money, because only a rare few people will have set aside enough income or earning enough income from retirement programs, which are nearly non-existent. They will get some Social Security income, and hopefully will get some benefit from all the money that they put aside in terms of dividends, those kinds of things that would be paid on a regular basis. But almost everyone could use extra money. Now consider that you probably have already thought about what to do in retirement in terms of maybe a part-time job, or putting a few hours in or here or putting a few hours there. Well, the one key thing about the difference between that drudgery of going to work every day, day in and day out, and maybe you love it, and I did, for example, because I own my own company, but nevertheless, it's time to make a change, and you did. So you probably don't want to put the same number of hours in. You don't want to necessarily put in 8 hours, 10 hours a day. Maybe you do. Maybe you just want to change. So without talking this to death, let's talk about something that I just came up with and wrote an article about becoming a vacation rental cleaner, for example, on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, most of you probably won't want to do that, but hear me out just for a moment. This is one of those kinds of things that just comes up. You probably never thought about doing it before. This could be a wife and husband situation, or partners that want to do this, or it could be just an individual, someone who always wanted to start their own business. So in this particular example, the ability to start up a cleaning business doesn't require very much money. In fact, I estimated probably not more than about $500 to buy all the cleaning materials, everything you need to do it with. And that's assuming, for example, if you chose to do this thing, that you would have the skills necessary to clean. Now, some people are clean freaks, for example, and they keep an immaculate house. Those individuals probably would do very well because they don't have to be taught. They understand what it means to have a clean house, clean property, for example. So they could just dive right into this and go out and do some vacation rental cleaning. there's good money in this, and it can be part-time. It can be as little as you want or as much as you want. Take a typical vacation rental property that might rent from Friday through Sunday. You go in on Sunday or you go in on Monday and you clean it. Probably won't get rented until the following weekend. May not even get rented the next week at all, depending on the time of the year. And then there is the summertime, and you might get someone checking out, and then 4 or 5 hours later you get somebody checking in. So you'll do that, and then maybe a few days later you'll do it again. So it's not terribly taxing or busy for you. You can work your kind of lifestyle around that, and you can be paid pretty well for that opportunity without making a huge investment. Remember, a lot of people start businesses, like, for example, a retail store, where you have to buy fixtures and supplies. Maybe it's a restaurant, and you're putting lots and lots and lots of cash in before you get anything out. Well, this type of business is one of those types where you put in very little capital. You don't have to go out and borrow money. You won't be in debt to anyone. And you use your skills, you use your head to be able to do this. And then you can take on as much business as you can handle. You just add a little more and you add a little more. Well, that's one example of a business that a retired person can get into with very little startup costs. And if they have the skills and the knowledge, they should know that. They would be able to jump right into it and get started. And it's fairly easy to attract the clients. I'm not going to get into all those details, but I did write a great article on this, and that is posted at keyladder.com for those of you that would like to go and take a look at it, and it'll be in the show notes here at the bottom. For those of you that have decided perhaps you'll do something else, it could be, and I'll tell you an example. I met a young lady who was 85 years old, and she was cutting lawns on her whole street. She had a zero-turn lawnmower, and she was going up and down the street. She had probably 12 houses that were paying her to cut grass. Now, it doesn't pay a tremendous amount of money, but it was really nice income for her, particularly during the summertime when she has to cut 2 or 3 or 4 times in a month. And she just drives her tractor up and down the street. It's that simple. She doesn't need a trailer. She doesn't even need a driver's license. Nobody's going to bother her. And yet she does an outstanding job. Plus she does the weed eating also. It was amazing to me. I had the opportunity to meet her and actually have one of my clients use her for mowing the lawn and doing the weed whacking. So there's something you can do when you're retired. Again, that didn't require much. She bought the zero-turn lawnmower just to do her own property, so that's more of an investment that you'd have to make anyway. And maybe you already own a push mower. What a great way to get some exercise, especially if you're in a suburban area where you don't need a zero-turn lawnmower. You can use your push mower, and you can go out, and it's the same thing as just taking a long walk every day. So you get exercise, you get outside, and you can earn some extra money. So that's another thing you can do. Yet another thing, and I could go on and on, but I won't. I just want to give you some idea, is to create a blog similar to the one that I'm speaking to you now on, which is a podcast, but also a blog. And there's a way to make money with blogs, particularly if you have skills. If there's something that people will pay you to learn, because knowledge means a lot. Knowledge is power. You've heard that before. And people will pay for knowledge. If you have some knowledge in a certain area, for example, if you're an accountant and you want to get out of that business, you don't want to do it anymore, but you remember there were several businesses that you did work for, and you learned a lot about those businesses when you were an accountant. And you don't want to be an accountant anymore, but you know enough about a particular business to be able to talk about it, to write about it, and to get people to pay you, or if they're not paying you, they come to your site and they buy something that's on your site. So this is something that doesn't take a lot of money to get involved, to get started, to get a website going. It's a fairly small investment that could have very high returns. So that's 3 things that I just mentioned that you can do on a part-time basis when you're retired. And obviously, you've come to this podcast because you want to learn some things, partly about retirement, partly about finances. So I think we killed two birds, so to speak, with this conversation. Now, you can read a lot more about this on retirecoast.com. And what we don't have on that website, we'll have on another website that we're affiliated with, and we'll be able to give you links over there. Some of these articles will actually tell you how to start a business up, just like the one I mentioned about starting up a vacation rental cleaning business. It's pretty much a start to finish type of article. There are some details that are missing, but then those can be filled in by other articles that are more specific about certain things, such as how to actually get the business going with the Secretary of State's office and that type of thing, along with accounting. How do you account for it? What about the taxes? There's other elements of the business side of any type of enterprise that you get into. Remember, there's the actual thing that you do, such as cutting the lawn, and then there's the marketing. How do you get the word out for that? The other thing is, how do you handle the money part, the expenses, that kind of thing. So there's more to it than that. Just being exposed to it is great, and you read an article about a certain thing you could do, then you need to get more deeply into it. And again, you can read some articles on our website that are more specific about certain elements, so that by the time you patch it all together, you should be able to get a business going with not a lot of money, perhaps a lot of effort, depending on your business, but at least you can get into it without spending your retirement savings, and you can make some extra money. And if you do it right, you might build a sizable business that you can actually sell. And as I always tell everybody who starts a business, start with an exit strategy, a time when you want to sell that business, and a method to sell that business. Often I tell people, don't use your name in the business because you're going to sell it to someone and you don't come along with it. I'll get into that in some other podcast down the road. So for now, I just wanted to alert you that there is life after retirement, lots of it actually, lots and lots and lots of things that you can do, and you can have fun when you get up in the morning and see the sun shining, and you can say, hey, today I'm going to make a few dollars, and then I'm going to use that to take my wife or my husband out for a nice meal. Well, thank you for coming to our podcast at retirecoast.com. Read the show notes. Please go to our website, retirecoast.com, and please come back and listen to more podcasts.